Welcome to the Projection Booth. I'm your host, Mike White. Joining me once again, of course, is Mr. Chris Stachiw.
Hey, everybody. I am also one of God's perfect idiots, or so I have been told.
On this special crossover with the Kulturecast, we are talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. Not Deadpool versus Wolverine, which I tend to call it, or Deadpool Wolverine, thinking there's a colon inside of there. There might be a colon inside of there. Might be a couple colons inside of there.
Back in civilian life, I wear a toupee. But nobody knows. Everybody knows. Go. Come on, girl! She's coming with us!
No, she's not.
Oh, yes, she
Fuck
is.
no.
Oh, yeah. Al, I'm back.
About damn time. You holding? I'm all out of devil's dandruff and I'm shaking like an angry vibrator.
Thank you, Al. We have company. Race ya.
That's Wolverine.
You're damn straight it is. Disney brought him back. They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
Nice fake o'clock shadow.
It's a summer balayage from the French. It's meant to mimic the natural highlights of the sun.
It's a toupee.
It's a hair system.
I love your hair system, Wade.
Thank you.
This is the third entry in the Deadpool franchise, and we are finally fully ensconced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, though it is very much a love letter to the weird Fox Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll definitely be talking about that quite a bit. But
We'll be spoiling the hell out of this movie, folks.
Yes, definitely for spoilers. Now,
yeah,
I did not know a lot of things going into this movie. We're going to be talking about everything to do with this movie. So if you don't want anything ruined, just come back later.
Well, let's. This is something I do on my show frequently when we do a new movie. Pre-spoiler talk. Would you suggest someone go out and check this movie out?
If you like the other two Deadpools, yes.
Interesting. You didn't say if you like MCU movies.
Yeah. No, just if you like Deadpool.
Yeah.
I think Deadpool's kind of his own flavor.
Yeah. I would say the same thing. If you were a fan of the MCU, you're probably going to see this movie. I would say though, it's not going to be an MCU movie. And frankly, it is like you said, it's a love letter to the Fox weird ass Marvel movies, which is perfectly fine. I would say, if you're on the fence, I don't know if it needs to be seen in the big screen. I mean, I saw it with an audience of people that were clearly certain, of varying degrees of in tune with what the movie was doing. And like you have alluded to, not knowing anything going into it. So I did get to see genuine reactions and responses from people. So if you want to see some of the big reveals, and some big cameos, probably go see it in theaters. But if you can wait, I don't think that this is a must see. I don't think that this is a saves the MCU like anyone has been talking about. I think it's very much something else. And what that is, we'll talk about when we get to spoilers. But yeah, I think it's fine. If you like Deadpool 1 and 2, I don't know how you wouldn't see this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of all been leading up to this. I mean, the Wolverine comments and things have been going on. I mean, of course, that's where Deadpool and Wolverine were first from, the Wolverine Origins movie. But I do appreciate how much they have, pissed on that movie, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well, and like you said, I mean, I rewatching Deadpool 1, like one of the first fucking jokes he makes in that movie is about Wolverine. Like, is about the fact that, like, these two characters have to interact with each other at some point because one of them has a bone to pick with the other not being in his movies. But yeah, should we just get into spoilers? Should we just talk about the movie broadly?
Yeah, sure.
So Mike, what did you think of Deadpool and Wolverine? Spoilers and all.
Well, I'm still kind of on the fence about it right now. I saw it about 24 hours ago. And there were a lot of things that I enjoyed. I was definitely just hooting and hollering in the movie theater, having a great time, other than the people that brought the little kids to see them.
Yeah, they were there for you too, huh? My friend and I were like, do they not know that this is like a fucking rated R movie with like blood and guts and people being dismembered in the first 5 minutes of the film? Like, I guess, look, personally, I could give a shit. As long as the kids aren't making a ton of noise, like, I don't care what you watch. Like, that's on the parents. And whatever. You can see worse shit on your phone in this day and age, like on YouTube, if your parents aren't doing like kids only YouTube. So, I mean, I get it, but were they loud?
They were pretty loud. There was also a guy, like, you know, there's the first couple rows, and then for me, there's like stairs to go up to
right.
seating. And in that last of the first couple rows, there was a person that was just on their phone for like at least 10 minutes into the film. And there was a guy behind us that just kept going, "What's up with that idiot on his phone? Turn off your fucking phone." And it was just like, holy shit. I thought there was going to be a fight. I was kind of hoping there would be. I wanted to say, why aren't you man enough to go down there and take care of that yourself?
Yeah, you fucking asshole. Wow, Mike just wants to see like World Star in his movie theater. Jesus Christ.
Some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, stir the pot.
So I like this idea I like the idea of Deadpool and the TVA, and I think that the opening credits are a lot of fun, using the corpse of Wolverine to fight off all these TVA agents. If you weren't aware of Loki, I don't know how you would enjoy this show, just because it's basically like a Loki special. It's Loki with everything other than Loki, and I really thought that Evie was going to show up as well, and no, I thought Owen Wilson was going to show up. It's kind of
would have been great.
Fitting that only person that shows up from the TVA itself, just one employee, and I'm like, oh, okay. We don't even get like PK
Kwan's not even in here. Yeah, like I didn't get it. Like I didn't get why. Yeah. I
mean, it just gave him the opportunity to jump around from universe to universe. And I do like that this is a call for the end of the multiverse, just because it has gotten so freaking silly. But I have to say the multiverse montage of him trying to find the right Wolverine, I think that's one of the best parts of the movie, especially the comic accurate Wolverine, like 5'3" Hugh Jackman, which was great. And then some of the references to some of the other comics, like I don't remember if I read Uncanny X-Men 281 or whatever it was, but that image of Wolverine being crucified on that huge X in front of all those skulls, I was like, oh, I remember that image. Or like him as the Apocalypse version of Wolverine, where he's got that awful long hair. I was like, okay, they're not digging too deep into the lore, which I liked. But, you know, at the same time, it's better if you do know it, and is funnier, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with this movie as well for a whole host of reasons. I think to call this movie as an MCU movie is a kind of a fucking cheat, because it's not. Deadpool's not even in the MCU at the end of the movie. He's literally back in the Fox universe that's just been established as existing parallel to everything else, which is fine. I'm not complaining about that, but I am pointing out the fact that it's not an MCU movie. The TVA is there, but the TVA in a lot of ways is, what's the word? Deus ex fucking machina at this point is what it feels like. Like, oh, you're having a bad time, and then the TVA just shows up. Like they can just it's like they're aliens. The way it's being treated is like they're aliens. They could just show up and take you away, and that's it. And that is like such a narrative cheat, but it's fine. I mean, this is how they had to get around it with this movie. They introduced, it almost feels like the TVA was created solely so they could do this with all of these characters from everything else. Because look, realistically, I am 34. You are in your early 50s. So we grew up with the Fox Marvel movies. Like I grew up with them. Those were a big part of my childhood growing up. And they were a big part of your early years as well, especially with comic book movies in terms of like elevated beyond where they were in the 80s and 90s. Those Fox movies had a fucking big budget. They had Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart. I think the immensity of how big of a deal those movies were has been lost in recent years, because now every superhero thing ever is like a big deal, and it comes out and makes buku bucks, unless it's like a handful of things that haven't. But did we need this movie? No. Was this movie going to happen? Yes. Did they do enough in this movie to justify its existence? Yes, but I don't think they did enough to make it out the way that they're advertising it, like it's going to save the MCU. It doesn't do anything for the MCU. No. All it does is say, hey, we know we fucked up, but they don't tell us how they're going to fix it. I mean, they have told us how they're going to fix it. We are recording this episode less than 24 hours removed from Robert Downey Jr. being cast as fucking Dr. Doom. So they've shown us how they're going to fix it, clearly. I mean, the thing with Jonathan Majors is a bummer, but his character is gone. Ant-Man and Quantumania clearly has done away with his character. So I don't understand what this movie kind of ultimately achieves other than saying, the Fox movies exist and the MCU movies exist. And then the Sony movies exist too. So everything exists at the same time. None of the multiverse stuff has actually been taken care of. Nothing has changed really. And all we know is the TVA can maneuver itself between all the lines, and now all the lines are existing within reason. Okay. That was the case at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like a little bit of a cheat. In terms of it being a Deadpool movie, I think it's a fine Deadpool movie. I rewatched the first Deadpool movie and I didn't like it as much. I rewatched the second one. I enjoyed it more. I think the comedy of Deadpool has really never, not matured, but I don't think it's ever really gotten past like a certain dial setting. They've never really gone out of their way to like elevate it. It's always kind of in the same vein of jokes that he's making. Like, I'm horny, or you're dumb and I'm horny. Like, and it's a lot of the same things. But again, I mean, Ryan Reynolds is charming enough that I think we all just kind of look the other way and go, yeah, it's fine.
I was a little bummed about this whole, because he's got his, what's he say, his 9 favorite friends, right? He's got his 9 people, and we barely see them at all in this movie. I was really hoping for something. And like, poor Vanessa gets fridged in the last movie and she gets just sidelined in this one. I was like, I really like their relationship and would like to have seen more. And I don't understand. Is she mad at him? Like, why is he working at this used car lot? I just don't understand. And is he working in the used car lot? He's applying to be an Avenger on Earth 616. Did he also do that on Earth 10,005, whatever that was? And like, is he the same? He can't be the same person. It's a multiverse thing.
He was using Cable's thing, I'm assuming, right?
Oh, just
they kind of mention around. Yeah, they mention it, and like they have like a throwaway line because he was like, "You had Cable's thing," and he's like, "Yeah," and then I broke it, is what he says. But like, again, there's so much cheating going on in this movie because it's multiverse and fourth wall breaking. Because yeah, there's a scene early on where he goes and talks to the version of Happy Hogan that we have seen in the MCU. It says it on the screen that this is the sacred timeline, Earth 616. It goes nowhere. It's in the first 5 minutes of the movie. That's the MCU of the movies right there. That's when Deadpool's in the MCU. Everything else, I guess the Void is its own place, but the Void exists within the construct of the MCU, as it were, because that's where everything gets dumped, including things from the MCU, like you mentioned with Loki. I think my biggest problem with this movie is that it takes place in the most uninteresting of settings humanly imaginable in a same summer where we saw a movie actually take advantage of that setting in an interesting way. They hang a lantern on the fact that it's Mad Max.
Oh yeah.
But like,
I mean, the same chariot with the motorcycles, everything. I mean, name checking Furiosa in the movie itself.
Yeah. Like I mean, I get it, but I don't think, I think even if you're calling attention to it, that doesn't change the fact that it doesn't work. I think having the movie set in the Void the whole film was a bit of a misstep. For me, at least, because I mean, again, like I understand why they did it, and it allows for some things to happen that I don't think anybody ever thought would ever happen. But the setting of the movie feels really one note. It's like we spend 90% of the movie in a desert, and I every time we see other things going on where there are other places, it's much more interesting than just Deadpool and Wolverine stuck in the desert together, which again, the character interactions between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are why we're here. It's ultimately, like you said, Morena Baccarin gets shelved, but it's because this is a bromance movie. I mean, this is the movie that they probably wish they could have made in the first movie and then expounded upon it in a second and third movie with the two of these guys, really, because they could have gotten an actual story out of them. And at the same time, Deadpool doesn't need a fucking love interest. Like I think that's the thing here that like maybe the MCU is finally getting to, and these movies are finally understanding, is you don't have to have love interests for characters in movies. It's not a requirement. And then when you have them in your first movie and you get to the third movie, they just feel like a vestigial tale. It's like, why are you still here? What is the point? Right. It's not even believable.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, the getting rid of Jane was such the thing for those Thor movies. It's like, well, where's Jane? Oh, she's off on another adventure. Where's Jane? Oh, she broke up with me. And then she finally comes back and it's the worst of the four. I like Natalie Portman and wish that she had a real character to play, but even as Lady Thor, I was so uninterested.
Well, and that's the thing. I have yet to watch that movie because I have heard how bad it is from everybody that I have talked to. I watched Ant-Man Quantumania. It is a weird-ass movie. I know why our friend and fellow podcaster, Father Malone, likes it, because it is a weird movie, but it is a movie that existed pretty much in post-viz the entire time. That's a green screen movie, if it's anything. Like, I've never seen a movie like that one, honestly. It's so green screen set bound. That's the nice thing about this movie. While it is set in the void, at least it's a practical set. At least it's a real place. At least it's not just, shot on some backlot fucking green screen stage in Anaheim somewhere like Ant-Man Quantumania seemingly was. At least the actors are all in the same scenes together, as opposed to being, not CGI'd, but, put in after filming. I mean, there are some things that I do appreciate about this movie, but I just wish this movie actually chose a lane and stuck with it. And it just doesn't. I don't understand. Is this movie, what is the point of this movie? Is the point of this movie to get Deadpool into the MCU? Because they don't do that. Is the point of the movie to tie up Deadpool's story in a satisfying way? It doesn't do that either, because the ending of the movie just goes, there's going to be more, and there will be. I feel like ultimately, like you alluded to already, the point of the movie is for it to be a love letter to a specific subsection of movies that don't get enough attention and love, and should, because again, they did make an impact on the MCU. Even if the MCU doesn't seem like it, the MCU exists the way that it does because of those Fox movies and because of those Sony movies.
I mean, just to have, the Green Day song playing over the montage at the very end and the end credits of all of the Fox movies, and the way that they'll do morphs between, the Michael Chiklis version of The Thing versus the Fan Four-Stick version of The Thing. And just, it was so sappy to have that. And then Ryan Reynolds, pre-Wolverine origins, I've always wanted to play this character. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so sappy, guys. I mean, yeah, it was nice. I agree with you. I was there every single time a new X-Men movie came out. I was so excited. I mean, especially when the second one came out, it was so good compared to the first one. And then the third one was just so bloody awful. I am so surprised they didn't get, the Vinnie Jones to come back as the Juggernaut.
Yep.
Would have been nice for him to be redeemed. But really, that's where this movie for me shines, is the cameos. And I was so glad that I had no idea. So just for people listening, I try to avoid trailers as much as I possibly can. And
in general, or MCU stuff?
Pretty much everything. I mean, every once in a while, like when the teaser for Furiosa came out, I was like, okay, I'll watch the teaser, but I won't watch anything else.
Fair.
And that was the thing I was complaining about with Deadpool. It was like, oh, it's the teaser trailer. It's teaser trailer 2. It's regular trailer 1, 2, 3, final trailer. And they're releasing these trailers. Like last week, it was like trailer 4. And I'm like, what the fuck, guys? This movie needs one trailer. Just a teaser, 30 seconds. That's all I need for this. I don't need everything. So I was so glad. I think I'd heard about Jennifer Garner coming back as Elektra, but I had no idea about Bleed coming back with Wesley Snipes. I had no idea that Channing Tatum was going to be in this movie. I had no idea that Chris Evans was going to be in this movie. And then when they revealed that he wasn't Captain America and that he was Johnny Storm, I had no idea that was going to happen. So I was just tickled pink watching this movie.
So I ask the thing about specifically what you avoid, because I know you avoid the trailers and all the promotional stuff. So I read the synopsis for the movie before I went in because I just wanted to know everything. And I will tell you, like, knowing ahead of time who was going to be in those scenes, who the reveals were going to be, I don't think it robbed me of anything. It allowed me to watch everybody else in the theater, especially my friend who I was with, who, like yourself, knew nothing about any of the spoilery cameo stuff. And I think that may have been the biggest success of this movie, is reintegrating in things that people like. There's no fucking universe where I genuinely ever thought Chris Evans would play Johnny Storm again. None. Like, none. I mean, with Robert Downey Jr. being Dr. Doom now, which of those two castings is more surprising? Robert Downey Jr. as coming back as Dr. Doom, or Chris Evans actually coming back as Johnny Storm for more than like some sort of, like archival footage? I'm shocked that Chris Evans came back. Even though I knew, it was still shocking to see him on screen as Johnny Storm.
And I was so happy when he turned out to be Johnny Storm, and when he turned out to be just such a putz. And then especially the very final scene of the film, that was great. I was just really, really happy. And yeah, his death was fantastic. Everything was so good.
Yeah, I mean, again, they know the fans of these kinds of movies would be on board if they brought some of this stuff back. And again, like, the last time he played Johnny Storm was 2007. I was 17. That was long. I saw that movie in theaters. I remember going to the movie theaters. I remember seeing that movie. I remember going outside my car being dead because we had left my lights on and we were just in the movie. We were in the parking lot of the movie theater talking about Rise of the Silver Surfer for an hour while I was waiting to get my car jumped. So I remember where I was when I saw that movie. So to see him now as that role after having played Captain America 2, which is, I mean, again, that was the other thing, thinking all the way back to when they cast him. It was like, they're going to cast the guy who played Johnny Storm as Captain America? No fucking way. I mean, the world is a better place for it. I think Chris Evans as Captain America is and will always have been the right call, just as much as Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is going to, in my mind, always be the right call. But Chris Evans as Captain America, I think, I don't know, like, look, he's a Boston guy. I think that the version he's playing in this movie is much more interesting than Captain America. But yeah, the fact that Chris Evans is in this movie, just, that's the big one for me, right? Like, I think for anybody who sits down to watch this movie, just seeing him is like, because Deadpool even hangs a lantern on. He's like, it's Captain America. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. But
he's like, he's going to say the line. He's going to say the line.
Yeah.
Like, great.
Yeah. But I will say the one that I actually think is the cameo that I enjoyed the most, because I think it's a joke, right? It's Channing Tatum as Gambit. It's like it's a total joke the whole time, right? You can see him laughing half the time when he's delivering the lines. There are some lines where he's laughing while delivering them, essentially.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, people were so excited about a Gambit movie, and I'm just like, I fucking hate Gambit. I cannot stand Gambit. He's just something, I guess what it was trying to read that fucking Cajun accent. That was nearly impossible to read that on the page. And then when he got together with fucking Rogue, and she's got her Southernisms and he's got his whole Cajun thing, I'm just like, oh, this is so impossible to read. But yeah, and his lame powers of the cards and everything. And I love how awful he looks in that suit. Just the way that it presses up against his throat and everything looks awful. In a funny way, though. That's the thing is, and I loved Deadpool's line of, who was your dialogue coach? The Minions?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said, like, Channing Tatum is like, his character is like the butt of every joke, but yes. I liked him the most as the cameo because it's the one, like, of all the things that we've seen, we never saw that. It's the thing we never saw. I mean, that was a movie that was talked about for years. It had Gore Verbinski attached. It had Rupert Wyatt attached. It had Doug Liman attached at one point. Never even got made. He was supposed to be in Wolverine Origins. Wasn't in that either. Like, the one for me that stands out is the one that we've never seen. And I think also, to the movie's point, like, this is why we didn't see it. Because a whole movie with that would have been beyond fucking insufferable.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then it was nice having Henry Cavill show up as the Cavalrine. That was good too.
Yeah.
Having some of the guys back from those X-Men movies, like I was surprised that there was no mention of Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth, but Tyler Mane showing up as Sabretooth was good. And then Aaron Stanford showing back up as Pyro. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And I like to see Pyro go against the Human Torch. I thought that was a really nice little fight that they had.
Yeah, the reviews that I had read about the movie going into it were a lot of kind of hand wringing about the cameos, and it's like it's a movie with cameos, and there's not much plot, and there's not much else. Like, I don't disagree. I think that the cameos are like the big sell of this movie. I obviously, I mean, they didn't show them in the trailers for a reason, for the most part. I mean, the one that we haven't talked about is the one that they revealed in the trailers going into the last week of the movie. And it's so that Daphne Keane could come back at the premiere, like, so she could be at the premiere of the movie, because everybody else wasn't able to because they didn't want to spoil their cameos. So Daphne Keane X-23 was revealed in like the last trailer that they showed for the movie. I actually think there should have been more of her and Logan in the movie, like, because
I totally agree.
Those scenes are so good. She's such a good actor, obviously. Like, she's a fantastic actor. I mean, she's as good. I mean, everybody in this movie is great, but she's fantastic. But her character, I almost just want more of her and Hugh Jackman. Like, I know that for some fucking people might be sacrilege, but I loved the characterization that they gave her, because again, that character actually, it seems like they had something to say with her character as opposed to everything else, which is just kind of a gag. Like, I know that maybe Wolverine's kind of emotional core of the movie might seem a little, I don't know, not exciting or not original, but I like what they do with it. And look, Hugh Jackman, I think, is the best he's ever been as Wolverine, frankly. Like, I'm not a fan of Logan. I know that everybody, for the most part, likes it. I just couldn't get behind the grim darkness of it all. I would rather have a movie that treats Wolverine's claws like real things, but it'd be fun, as opposed to, you know, a dour, sad, he's going to die at the end of the movie. I prefer this way of doing it, where you get some blood and gore, but you also get a trueness to the character that would make sense opposite Deadpool. But I loved Hugh. I think Hugh Jackman's the best part of this movie, frankly, period. Other than when he has that mask on, which now we all see why there's a reason he didn't wear the mask. And you know why? Because it looks fucking dumb. Roast me online. I don't care.
Maybe if they had given him real eyes instead of the white eyes like Deadpool has, but yeah, that was really rough when he puts that on. I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, it was kind of nice for a second, but I kind of wish that had ripped off when his shirt ripped off magically, which I thought was a nice effect as well.
Yeah, I don't want to, again, like, I understand why fans wanted to see it, because it's like The Thing, right? It's The Thing. It's the thing you've never seen with Wolverine, at least Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. There's a reason why. It doesn't look good, because his head is so huge. He looks like he's going to fall over. And anytime it's like not front on, when it's not front on, it looks really bad. When it's front on, it's like, okay, fine, I can kind of get down with it. But if it's like a side shot, his head looks like he's wearing a football helmet on his head. It's just kind of ridiculous. And I understand why people wanted it, but look, Hugh Jackman's a good actor, and his performance starts getting lost under that mask. That's the reality. The last like 30 minutes of the movie, he's not able to emote as much as he was before because that mask hinders it with the eyes and everything. Ryan Reynolds can make it through that, but Ryan Reynolds, we already know he can do it in full mask. Hugh Jackman, It's like, what's the point at this point? You're giving the fans what they want. You're giving a specific group of fans what they want. I don't think every single fan of Wolverine was wanting to see him with that mask on. I think a lot of us have kind of let that ship sail. Like, what's the point even?
Well, what was with Deadpool having the mask, they can convert his entire body to a CG character and
right,
do whatever they want with him. When Hugh Jackman loses his shirt and has the mask on, you can see that it's not a real person when they switch him to CG at one point, just because the skin on his chest and the fur, his hair, they don't look right. So there was at least one or two moments where I was like, whoa, hey, this really is taking me out here, at least with Ryan Reynolds. I know that it's just his voiceover and either somebody else in the suit or just a completely made up creature.
Yeah. How did you feel about Ryan Reynolds in this movie, his performance?
I thought he was all right. I thought that he talked more than usual, which was interesting. And yeah, it didn't feel like there was the same gravitas that he had in those earlier films, like the whole idea of, I'm going to find Francis, he's going to fix me type of thing, which I thought kind of replayed here with, don't worry, I'll fix your world type of thing. We'll find the guy and they'll fix this type of thing. In the second one, trying to get back Vanessa and really trying to save Russell, I thought there was more to it with that. And yeah, I agree. It feels like the emotional center of the movie could have, or maybe should have been X-23, but really didn't happen, and that they just leave her. And I thought they were leaving everybody in the void to die once that creature came in, and I figured ate them all.
Well, that's what Loki says happens, and then it didn't happen. I mean,
it's true.
Who knows? Yeah. They
might just get to meet Jonathan Majors. I don't know.
You're right. Yeah.
To have a whole episode of them talking. That's a really good way to end your first season.
The real waste bin of the MCU is where Jonathan Majors is, folks. Yeah, no mention of Kang in this movie at all. I was kind of surprised. I figured there would be some mention of something. Maybe is that the joke that's too far down the hole to make, I guess? They can't make that joke. They can't make a joke about that guy getting fired and it completely upending their plans for the next seemingly 5 years, decade maybe. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. I think Ryan Reynolds is actually better in this movie when he's playing Nice Pool. I think it's a much more interesting performance because, again, Deadpool, he's never really grown as a character at all in any of these movies. And in the first movie was the only time they really tried. And then they just, like you said, they fridged the Morena Baccarin character after the first movie because the first movie is the worst Deadpool movie of the three because it focuses on things for the most part that I don't think end up having any sort of value at any, like, all they've done is drag this franchise down by having him have a love interest and these other things. Like, I don't think that's helped this franchise out at this point. It's kind of given it a reason to go in directions that aren't the way movies are written now. Like, not every hero has to have a love interest. And frankly, if they don't, it allows you to do other things with the character that maybe isn't as generic as, oh, you have a love interest and they're in peril, you must go save them. Like, how many times have we seen that? This could have been a movie about Deadpool and Wolverine having a bromance, which it should have been. Like, Deadpool's been talking about Wolverine since the first frame of Deadpool. I don't give a shit about his girlfriend because in a lot of ways, he hasn't either. Like, he cares about her when the plot has to have him care about her. But for the most part, it's all been about Wolverine. Over and over and over again. Even wore a mask with Hugh Jackman's face on it. Come on.
This movie, thankfully, you could really draw a lot of lines between it and The Flash. And just all of those unnecessary cameos and the whole, other timeline thing that they're doing inside of that movie, having, your Ben Affleck and George Clooney and these other people making their cameos in there. And Michael Keaton, of course. And I was glad that they didn't do that with this one. I mean, it was great for me to see Wesley Snipes. That was probably the highlight of this movie for me, was him showing up as Blade, just because he's so cool and he still looks so incredibly cool. And to even throw the line about people that still continue to try to ice skate uphill, that was really good for me. But yeah, I'm glad that it didn't feel as gratuitous as The Flash did.
Thank you for that comparison. You took the words right out of my mouth. That is the failure version of this movie. Because The Flash is kind of almost that character in the DC. He's the jokiest of the 4 or 5 of them. And he almost fourth wall breaks. I mean, him doing the slow-mo, you almost think he's like going to look at the screen and like look. It's close. But yeah, that movie, fuck, that movie is a rough watch. That movie is so bad from a technical standpoint, it's barely watchable, let alone the plot, like tying itself in pretzels and then just throwing itself in the trash at the end because, lol, it doesn't really fucking matter anymore because it literally doesn't. And in a lot of ways, like, I kind of feel the same way about this movie. Like, at the end of this movie, I was like, what the fuck does any of this even matter? Like, is there going to be another Deadpool movie? If there is, what is it going to, because here's the reality. Deadpool doesn't work in the MCU. He just doesn't, right? How could Deadpool, in all reality, exist opposite the Avengers when we never watch the Avengers kill anybody the way Deadpool does?
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're killing aliens. But even then, like, Deadpool stabs like people in the dick with beamers and like cuts their heads off and slams swords through their bodies. Like, it's so far removed from anything. Even Punisher didn't go that far. I just don't see how they could ever actually have Deadpool in the MCU. I don't. And I don't think they do either, really. Like, I think this movie is kind of them just admitting they can't really do it because the way the MCU is, it's too facing one direction at this point. It's kind of hard to pivot it away to anything else. I think, at least. But again, they don't seem to think so because Deadpool's now in the MCU, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the whole joke of now you're going to have to do this until you're 90, Hugh Jackman. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know if they're going to. I mean, Hugh Jackman isn't getting any younger, and neither is Ryan Reynolds, frankly. But
right,
yeah, it is very curious as far as where they're going to go with this. I mean, they've been trying to make the X-Men happen in the MCU. They still don't know how to do it. I heard that they were going to do a crossover with Fantastic Four and the X-Men at one point. I don't see why they needed to do that at all.
Well, and the other thing that came out of Comic-Con was, I guess, in that Captain America movie, they mentioned adamantium. So, I mean, again, like that's like vibranium, right? That's mentioning that thing that ends up being the entry point. But I mean, is it that Hugh Jackman is just too good as the role that they are so afraid to recast him? I don't get it. Like, we've talked about this for years now, this idea of recasting Wolverine as anybody else. And even this movie can't bother itself to recast him as anybody other than Hugh Jackman, other than one scene. I was actually expecting there to be more different Wolverines played by other people. Because again, like, the Deadpools are all played by different people, literally. One of them is Blake Lively. One of them is Nathan Fillion. One of them is Matthew McConaughey. Which, that is, I think, for me, the laziest cameos in the movie are the voiceover cameos, because it's like, that's not a cameo. That's like what J.J. Abrams did with Daniel Craig in The Force Awakens. Like,
right.
It's like a line, or it's a guy. It's like he's in a costume, but like I don't think that was Matthew McConaughey on set. Let's just put it that way. I don't think Blake Lively, she may have been dressed up like Lady Deadpool, but that was clearly just, you know, her voice coming out of somebody else's mouth. I feel like that was the lazy version of the cameos. That, again, like you said with Flash, like that's like that Nick Cage cameo in the Flash movie. It's like, what is this? What is this for? The Deadpool Corps shows up and they have to fight them at the end of the movie. And all of a sudden it's like, and now we get to have more cameos. And it's like, now we just take like a 15-minute break in the middle of our movie to just have this kind of nonsense play out. That's probably, as much as I'm sure a lot of fans enjoyed that part of the movie, that might be the weakest part of the movie for me, is that Deadpool fight at the end. Because it's like, this is, talk about gratuitous, unnecessary, and ultimately means nothing. Like, the gag is that they all like Rob Delaney's character, and so they just stop fighting one another. What?
Right. Yeah. Rob Delaney with that huge package of the Deadpool costume.
Big wiener. Wiener. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they mentioned the Deadpool Force or whatever in the Void, and I was like, I kind of hope we don't see them. And then we do. So,
yeah. Again, I remember, I forget that you were not watching the trailers because they showed Lady Deadpool the trailer like a million times. Because of course they did. Because why not, right? Just ruin everything.
And I thought that was supposed to be Taylor Swift.
Supposedly, but it was Blake Lively. I mean,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Because, but you know, she's married to Ryan Reynolds. Makes sense, right? You know, I
think he even makes a mention of Blake at one point.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman does.
Yeah. Someone says Blake at one point. There is a lot of the fourth wall breaking here that I think works. You mentioned them pissing on Wolverine Origins. That was the second Deadpool movie, right? Where he like kills himself at the end of the movie when he's reading the Green Lantern script.
Yeah. Just clean out the timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the lines like that in this movie, I think, work. I'm actually surprised they didn't spend as much time in the TVA. I thought they would have spent more time in the TVA. They kind of, again, like, it's just a stopping point to get to the void is what it feels like. Like, there's, I don't know, the TVA is, again, Deus Ex Machina. That's the way this movie treats it. It's how you get around, how you get from Earth 1005 to Earth 616. But again, you never see them in Earth 616, so...
Yeah, just that one scene with him and Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did like those little, digs on Jon Favreau, which I thought was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think this is a poorly written film. I think there were too many hands in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
It was like six names, 5 or 6. Yeah, it's like, Jesus, have you guys ever heard of brevity? It's the soul of wit. You don't need 6 people writing your script. And one of those names is Ryan Reynolds too, on top of everything else. So, I mean, do we think he contributed a lot, or do we think he just Deadpooled it up? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
And I also wanted to ask you your thoughts on Shawn Levy as a director.
When his name came up, I was just like, where do I know him from? What else has he done? And he was doing like Free Guy, right? Which I just rewatched the other day.
Right. Yep.
So not good. But then what else has he done? He also did like a few others with Ryan Reynolds. There was one called The Adam Project, which I don't remember what that is at all.
Came out 2 years. It was one of those COVID movies.
Oh, okay.
that came out, and then it was Netflixed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's one of these. Plus, he also worked with Hugh Jackman on that Real Steel movie. I read a little bit before we did this, but yeah, I remember it's like mid-level comedies or lower-level comedies, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, the things that I know him for, like Big Fat Liar, the first Pink Panther movie with Steve Martin. I mean, he did all 3 of the Night at the Museum movies, which, okay. I mean, the first, I can't tell the second and
John Turtletop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can't tell the second and third Night at the Museum movies apart. I know the first one. I think the first Night at the Museum movie is actually pretty good in terms of like well cast, non-offensive children fare that adults can actually watch as well. Like Night at the Museum, I think kind of works rather well as a movie. It's a novel concept. It's Jumanji adjacent, as it were. But this is not the guy I would have picked to helm a superhero movie.
Yeah. Because I want to say like it was one of the John Wick guys for one of the earlier Deadpool movies, and I can't remember who else, but they definitely were much more action directors than comedy directors.
Yeah, the first movie was directed by Tim Miller, and then the second movie was directed by David Leitch. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, John Wick, Hobbs and Shaw, Atomic Blonde, Bullet Train, like the thing with this movie is the action in this movie does suffer from it not having been written and directed by someone who understands how to direct action. And David Leitch and Tim Miller sure do. That first, as much as I'm not a huge fan of the first Deadpool's comedy, that scene in the car at the beginning of the movie is really well done, and it's really compelling.
That's the scene that got them the money, right?
Yep. Well, that was the scene that leaked. That was what they leaked. Whoever leaked it.
Whoever. Wink, wink. Yeah.
Nod.
Yeah. The other thing, we have talked this entire time, we haven't talked about the baddie, because the baddie is just so nothing to me. Like, she's super threatening when she's in the void, but yeah, I don't know. I just felt like if you give someone unlimited powers, they get pretty boring as a villain. Yeah.
So Emma Corrin plays Cassandra Nova, who is Charles Xavier's sister, who was from the 1005 timeline and was put in the void. Is that correct?
I think so.
Yeah, it's not made clear because they reference like, well, if the Charles that I knew, if he had known that this had happened to you, he would have torn the fucking universe apart to find you. Like,
right.
That is the case. Like, and so I don't know what version of Xavier, what world she came from, but yeah, she's underutilized in this movie because she's a great actress, but she's not given enough to. I mean, how often have we said that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, even looking at the other films, I mean, at least Francis, and then you've got Gina Carano as his second at hand. The second movie is interesting just because it's more Eddie Marsan is the bad guy in there, but then you also have Juggernaut as well, who just kind of gets introduced to the story. And then Cable's kind of the bad guy for a little bit of it. So it almost moves from antagonist to antagonist through that film.
Yeah, Deadpool 2, when I rewatched it, it's like a narratively disjointed movie too. Like, all of these Deadpool movies are very narratively disjointed. I mean, the first movie opens with him sitting on the freeway with that scene that, like you said, that got the movie made. And then it cuts to like 30 minutes of other things, and then comes back to that. Like these movies have never been straightforward with storytelling, much to their problem. Like, I don't think these movies have benefited from the storytelling devices that they keep leaning on either.
No, that movie almost feels like there's 3 openings to it. Like, well, here's the footage that got us this movie made, and
wink,
now
wink.
Here's another thing, and now here's another thing, and then they keep going back to that bridge. And pretty much all of these movies do the "how did I get into this situation? Well, here, let me take you back a few days, and I'll show you." Yeah, because that's how this one starts as well. When we literally go up Deadpool's butt at the beginning to see the flashback.
Yes.
The other thing, so I understand why TJ Miller wasn't in this film. I kind of had hoped that Julian Dennison, aka why am I blanking on his name? Fire Fist.
Yeah.
Russell. I don't know why Russell wasn't in this movie. And then Zazie Beetz should have been in this movie as well. The other thing that and please correct me if I'm wrong, and this sounds like I'm really nerding out way too much. The guy with the long Shatterstar, that's his name.
Yeah, from the last movie.
Yeah, but didn't he die in the last movie? Like, I remember when they reset time and he saved Peter, but I didn't remember him saving Shatterstar.
Yeah, I didn't understand why he was there. I didn't understand why Russell wasn't there either. I don't know why Zazie Beetz wasn't there. You tell me she couldn't have shown up for 2 scenes, because that's all anybody got anyways. Like, this franchise barely even hangs together as one movie to the next. Like you said, with the characters in this movie that are his friends, we see them twice. Like, does it really matter? Does this need to be the emotional core of the movie? Is Back to the Futuring itself, like holding up a picture and be like, this is what matters? It's like, okay. Like, I don't think they handled the characters from the last movies well at all in this movie. At least not the ones that are like the main characters. Again, when you have a character like Deadpool who dominates the screen and is ever present at all times, I guess it kind of doesn't matter if nobody else shows up, but that's not how movies work. Like, you need to have something to break up the just overwhelming Deadpool of it all. I mean, he's in like every scene of this movie. Like, there's not a whole lot. I mean, again, like, your mileage with it will vary, and it's a movie called Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's Deadpool. It should be Deadpool in large text and Wolverine in smaller text. Cause he, again, it's like they can't get out of their own way sometimes with just like, he just needs to be funny all the time. And he needs to say funny things all the time. Everything he says needs to be funny. We were just talking about Fletch with Chevy Chase. And in a lot of ways, this movie has the same problem that movie does, where it's like, he's just saying things. Like, just don't keep saying shit constantly. Like, it just word vomiting funny lines. At some point, they're not funny. And it's just you just saying things and them leaving it in. We haven't talked about the other villain of the movie. Speaking of the TVA.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Paradox.
Yeah. Have you watched Succession?
I have not.
Okay, me either. So Matthew McFadyen, I guess, is one of the main characters in that show, which is why he's in this, because that's the way Marvel works, is you were in something popular and successful. You like money? You like money?
I like money.
Yeah, me too. We should hang out. He's a good actor, just given nothing to do.
Yeah. He reminds me a little of Armie Hammer. When I was looking at him, there were times where I was like, she looks like Armie Hammer to me.
Interesting. That's not a good person to be compared to.
No, but I do like this guy. And yeah, he's just another British villain and another person at the TVA that you need to watch out for. So yeah, we can't trust those TVA people.
No, not at all. Not at all. And his character, I mean, yeah, I kind of disappointed that we didn't see more TVA people, to your point. Like, you've established the TVA, you've established people there that you could just look at. Fucking, you're just gonna have them in one or two scenes. You tell me Ke Quan and Owen Wilson wouldn't have shown up for SAG minimum at least? Like,
yeah, you just get B-15, and I like her, but at the same time, it's like, well, give me at least one other familiar face from that show.
Right, because it makes it feel like the TVA is a completely, like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the TVA understands what it's doing, even. Like, they're not in control of their own organization, which has not really been the case in the Loki show. Like, and now all of a sudden it's like, well, there are these kind of subsections of people that exist within the TVA that are doing their own things and people don't know about it. It's like, you could just have the other TVA people. There's no need to, like, make this into something else. Would Owen Wilson and Ke Quan have been a bad choice in this movie? No, they might have helped make it feel more like an MCU movie, frankly, as opposed to having a new character at the TVA, which kind of just makes it feel like removed from everything else you've introduced at this point regarding the MCU stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even get Miss Minutes in there, and I know that I think she was banished, but, like, just do something to make it feel more familiar. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, again, the MCU of it all, every time we talk about an MCU movie, I like to, as we kind of near a point of towards the end of the episode, like, I always like to ask, like, where do you think this is all going? Right. And if I had asked you that 48 hours ago, it might have seemed a lot less clear than it does now, given the state of things and given, post San Diego Comic-Con, the big Marvel panel that they did.
Well,
but
it's still one of those I'll believe it when I see it things. I mean, that line that Wesley Snipes has about there are no other blades.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's nice. That's kind of a nice rip against Marvel for not being able to get this Mahershala Ali version done. And they've been talking about it for 5 years about this.
Since he won an Oscar for Moonlight, which is why he was cast. He was the hottest black actor at the time. Yeah. And he looks proper badass enough to be believable as Blade. And that movie is never going to happen.
No. And, just the whole, everything has just shit the bed for the last 5-6 years. I mean, really, since Endgame, there have been a couple here and there that have worked, but I mean, I don't trust it anymore. I don't trust the system. I mean, they had such a good plan for that first 20 movies, and even those weren't always, hitting them out of the park. I mean, you've got your Thor and your Thor Part 2, and your Iron Man 2 and 3. But sorry, hot take, but you've got all of those, and I just don't trust that they know what they're doing with this new stuff. I mean, Kang is one thing, but they're still talking about Secret Wars. I honestly don't know how they're going to do Secret Wars in this universe, but I mean, this is just more multiverse shit. I'm just so tired of it.
Well, and I'm tired of it too, because of the way they're handling it is very poor. It's so to recontextualize the multiverse stuff. The multiverse stuff started, in your opinion, with what? Spider-Man? No Way Home? Because they hit. Was it? I guess it was WandaVision, sort of.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man No Way From Home alludes to, or no, it's not Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man Homecoming alludes to Mysterio being from another universe, right? Because that's what but then it's never figured out if that's the case or not.
No, I guess you're right. With that. Because I was aware of the multiverse just being a comics fan. So I kept thinking like, oh, well, this is Earth 616 and yada. But yeah, I guess you're right when it comes to that. And then when Spider-Man comes back at one point and he suddenly is seeing the other J. Jonah Jameson, we realize that seeing the J. Jonah Jameson, I think that's when it was like, oh, this is the same universe as that one. Or, he's not working for the Daily Bugle. He's doing this news program. He's basically Alex Jonesing it.
Right. Yeah, I think Spider-Man No Way Home is when they're like, here's the multiverse. Because Eternals and Shang-Chi and Black Widow had none of that. No. But then No Way Home is Doctor Strange needs to wipe the timeline, right? And then those Spider-Men show up. And then, I mean, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is just...
That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, is it though? For a movie called Multiverse of Madness, it doesn't have a lot of multiverses. This movie has more multiverses. And then Quantumania, but Quantumania has nothing to do with the multiverse. Like, it's been Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and this, really.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing else.
Course, the animated Spider-Man, of course.
Oh, right. Yeah. And that's its own thing, right? Like, I guess that exists here. Yes, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I guess the other multiverse thing, again, never really explained is, remember the end of Venom 2, where he just gets randomly teleported to the MCU at the end of the movie. You remember that? Mm-hmm. Like, never explained, never done anything with. Michael Keaton shows up in Morbius. He didn't even know what he was doing there.
I think it has something to do with Spider-Man.
Right. I'm just mentioning all this because I think, to your point, this multiverse stuff sucks. It really sucks. And it sucks not because of what it is, but because it's almost like permission to be lazy.
Well, yeah. It's basically the Skrulls as well, because you can just say, oh, it wasn't actually him. It was a Skrull impersonating him. And
right.
You can say that years later. It's like, oh, well, Nick Fury acts weird during Infinity War. Well, did you notice that he's eating a sandwich that's been chopped diagonally? And he says in Captain Marvel that he can't stand sandwiches that are cut that way. He must be a Skrull. And it's like, what? What are you saying?
Yeah. It's just so lazy to me. And again, I mean, the multiverse stuff, it's fun. I mean, we got to see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, I guess.
Great.
Like, I'm glad we didn't see any more of that, because that character and all those characters in that movie are like the definition of morons, clearly, the way that they all go out. But I haven't found any of this multiverse musings to be anything more than just cameos for cameos' sake. Like, really, like, Deadpool does the most with them of any of the movies, right? I mean, they do more with them in this movie than they did in Multiverses of Madness and in Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man maybe is the next biggest, because those characters, it's different because those aren't cameos in that movie. Those are like fully fledged performances with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, to the point where I would actually prefer to have those guys back into the fold in some way. Like, and look, walking out of this movie, I would like to see a Blade movie with Wesley Snipes, another one in the MCU. I would watch Jennifer Garner as Elektra. I would watch a Channing Tatum movie, maybe not if it was made to be serious, but I don't know if the multiverse stuff is going to continue to be part of this, or if they're kind of taking a back seat to it. But this phase 4 and phase 5 of Marvel have been rough, very rough, some very high highs. I think Spider-Man No Way Home is a very high, but some very low lows, like Doctor Strange and Quantumania. So I feel like they can only go up from here, but who knows?
We can hope. I mean, I do. Despite it's very easy to rip on the Russo brothers, but I do appreciate their work, and I'm curious to see what they come up with for, I think they're doing Secret Wars. So.
They're doing 5 and 6.
Wow. I mean, I can't see them doing Secret Wars. They did the same way that they did back in the 80s. I mean, especially just because, that's where Spider-Man gets the black suit. We've already established the black suit. We don't need to go back and reestablish that. But the Beyonder was such a weird fucking villain, but maybe they'll actually make him good. So, or maybe they'll just say that Dr. Doom is playing the Beyonder's role.
I think what they're going to be adapting is the Secret Wars story that they did in like a couple years ago. Okay. They redid a Secret Wars story where Dr. Doom is God Emperor Dr. Doom, and he's like in charge of he kind of becomes like the god of the multiverse, essentially. So that's what I'm assuming they're doing. But yeah, the thing with Jonathan Majors forced them to pivot hard. We all know that clearly. But yeah, I very much reserved about getting excited about anything Marvel moving forward for two reasons. A, the one you've already mentioned, which is I don't believe it until I literally am sitting in the theater watching it. And B, like, even if I am watching it, there's no guarantee it's going to be good. And there was a time where MCU movies were just across the board fine. We used to say like the worst MCU movie is still better than the best DC movie. That is not the case anymore. That is far from the case. I would say that like Ant-Man Quantumania is probably up there with some of the worst DC movies, period, because of just all of the problem. Like you mentioned with the CGI and the Flash, like Ant-Man and the Wasp has that same problem.
Yeah.
So, but then you get something like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which ends up being pretty good and everybody seemed to like it. And it seemed to be a good way to end the series. But then you have the Marvels, which I don't think anybody even went and saw for the most part. And if people did,
I saw it.
It was fine, right?
It was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I heard. It was like, it's fine. It's like, I'm not going to go to a movie theater to see an MCU movie that's just fine anymore. Like what is the appeal there? Because Marvel movies used to be a thing. Like I remember when Endgame came out, just like you do, that was a big deal. They have yet to recapture it. Maybe Doomsday will. Maybe.
Yes. Yesterday was the most busy I've seen a movie theater since Endgame. I mean, it was actually people sitting on either side of us. The theater was pretty full. Just amazing.
The theater was not as full for when I saw Twisters as it was for Deadpool, but I saw Twisters on a Sunday. I saw Deadpool Friday afternoon at like 12:30. It was pretty full. I mean, for like you said, comparatively to the other times I've been to the movies, it's fuller than most. But yeah, I don't know if the MCU will ever be able to get back to Endgame heights. I mean, there's never been anything like Endgame, really. Like what that was a culmination of, I think Marvel probably now is like kicking themselves for taking it for granted is probably what it feels like given the uphill climb that they have now with ice skates, you know. So I don't know. I'm glad that Deadpool and Wolverine finally came out. I'm glad we finally got to see this crossover between the two of them. I just wish they had done more with it. I wish they had done more with it because for talking it up for as long as they have, for almost a fucking decade at this point, and it kind of doesn't check all the boxes that you would have thought it would have checked given the amount of time and hemming and hawing that they've been doing about this movie coming out. Final thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine, Mike?
Well, I'm glad to have seen it. A lot of it lived up to the hype. I don't know really what I was expecting with this one. I did have a great time watching in the theater and was definitely being very obnoxious, though the guy next to me was having a great time as well. He was just like, that's Lady Deathstrike. Yeah, like just pointing out all the characters to his wife. And I was like, I hope I'm not doing that to my wife, but okay. You know, we talked about it afterwards. I definitely enjoyed it more than Andrea did. And I was just like, well, why is that? And she's like, he was just way too loud. Deadpool was too loud and talked too much. And I was like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. If you're going to level anything against Deadpool, him being loud and obnoxious, like talkative. Yep. Yep. Yeah, totally. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I had a good time with it. How about you, Chris?
I think I had a good enough time with it to suggest, again, if you've seen MCU movies, you're going to go see this movie. If you've seen Deadpool, you're going to go see this movie. This movie made $483 million. Our opinion on it is not going to sway people to not go see it or not. Just given the scale and scope of what it is, I think it was fine. It didn't do enough for me to be like, man, that was the movie I was waiting for. If anything, it made me wish that they had maybe taken a step back and shored it up a little bit more. I like Ryan Reynolds. I think him and Hugh Jackman on screen together, it did pay off in a lot of ways, the way that they hoped in terms of the quality of the back and forth between the two of them. But I wish there was more of it. I wish it had been that had been the case since the first movie and it had been Deadpool and Wolverine 1, 2, and 3, not just Deadpool 2, and then finally tacking it on at the end and saying that's good enough. But hey, you know, you can't win them all. But I think that in terms of this being a good Marvel movie, I think it's probably in the top third of the Marvel movies. I don't think it's maybe closer to the middle of the pack, depending on your feelings on the cameos, but it's not one of the worst ones, and not by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, and I'm glad that we are going and seeing new movies. It's getting me out of the house, getting me into the theaters. I still don't like the theater going experience, but I don't think I ever will, given what it has kind of become now, popcorn buckets and all. So, yeah. Where can people find you, Mike, when you and I are talking about brand new movies?
You can also find everything that I do over at weirdingwaymedia.com, which is, it's the hub for everything. So the stuff that you and I work on and the stuff that I do solo. How about you, Chris?
Same. weirdingwaymedia.com, all the things that we work on that are new movies, old movies, everything in between. So yeah, that's where you can find us and the things that we work on. weirdingwaymedia.com. Like, rate, and review the show on iTunes, please. That is the best and easiest place to get it. And that's also where most people find it. So you'll be helping us find more people who want to listen to our opinions on movies. Until the next time we talk about a new movie, we'll catch you on the next episode.